He'd give me $100 each for every genuine such document meeting certain criteria I could find on the same size and style type. Ha! Take that, Friedman. Well, I did, and I took his check for $1,000. He set a limit of 10, unfortunately. He'd never been to the Eisenhower Library. They had 250,000 pages of National Security Council material, and he's going to generalize from 9 to 250,000. That's typical of the intellectual bankruptcy of the pseudoscience of anti-ufology. I like the way that sounds. Oh, it was good. Oh, yeah. And he got angry at me for including it in a report, sent me a threatening letter. His father had been an attorney. And I said, Phil, look, you sent me a check. I Xeroxed it. I took it to the bank. They cashed it. I can do whatever I darn please with the Xerox. He shut up. He told everybody about challenging me, you understand, and nobody about paying me. Here's the book. I don't have any copies left. You can get it by mail. Top Secret Magic. Oh, there will be a movie, I hope, called Magic Man. My life story has been optioned by a Hollywood firm, along with that of Don Schmidt. And they have the movie rights to the book and the movie rights to Don's book, Witness to Roswell. And they're working on a screenplay now. All they need now is to find the money and the actors. We'll have a competition. Who should play Stanton Friedman? It would make it interesting. There's another one of my books. This has pictures of nuclear rockets and nuclear aircraft systems and all the rest, and results of public opinion polls, and it puts the kibosh on all the stupid arguments of the nasty, noisy negativists. And the cult of SETI, silly effort to investigate again, yes. The point here is these guys don't seem to be aware that this is the 21st century. Their technological picture is the Pony Express. Slide rules. I was giving a talk in Michigan, and I was going through how much technology has changed in the last 60 years. I said, when I started working in industry, I was using a slide rule. I looked around the class, didn't see any reaction at all. Any of you know what a slide rule is, I asked? Not one person in the classes did. That's less than 50 years. And you're telling me we're stuck with technology like sending radio signals, using our best technology? Enrico Fermi, one of my heroes, good Italian guy, got a Nobel Prize in 1938. His wife was Jewish. Mussolini was persecuting. They came to the United States and never went back. He was in charge of the first nuclear chain reaction at the University of Chicago. One of the reasons I went there, I got there in '53, he died in '54. They used exploratory surgery, cut him open, riddled with cancer, sewed him back up. Because of nuclear techniques, we don't do exploratory surgery anymore. One of the advantages of modern technology. Anyway, coming out of Los Alamos at lunch, he and a couple of other guys, they've been discussing at lunch, if anybody got started colonizing the whole galaxy, it should only take a couple million years. As they were leaving, Fermi, who was noted for asking questions to get answers, to get a truth. So where is everybody, he said. Whole books have been written with answers to the Fermi paradox. The place should have been colonized, so one answer is they did, they're here, but we don't know it. Another is they never made it here. Another is there's nobody out there. Some people will try to tell you Fermi said there wasn't anybody out there. It's not what he said. And people use that as if that proves there are no flying saucers, because Fermi asked the question. That's pretty irrational. There's Frank Drake. Frank's a good guy. He's even older than I am. In his biggest generosity, he listens for signals from out there because he knows what kind of technology those aliens are going to use, just like ours, which we have with radio only being a little over 100 years old. He optimistically says there ought to be 10,000 planets in our galaxy on which there would be a civilization that could send out radio signals. 10,000. Considering there's over 100 billion stars in the galaxy, that means only 1 in 10,000 stars is a planet sending out signals. That means within 1,000 light years of here, there might be 2. My vision is that there's plenty within 55 light years of here. And Frank, in one of his books, says 3 different times interstellar travel is out of the question. To each his own, I guess. And that's the difference between the Saturn V calculation of 1 million tons and the actual number of 3,000 tons. There are those who know and those who blow, those who put out a lot of words and don't know what they're talking about. Frank is a nice guy, and he might even know what's going on because he spent 3 years working on very highly classified work when he was in the Navy. And then went to Harvard and stayed in the Navy Reserve for 10 years. And they love to get very smart professors to do classified work during the summers. So if there was any bet, I'd probably say Frank probably did know something. But there have been big conferences, and he puts up the Drake equation. We call it an equation. The only trouble is different people put in different numbers, and you get results from that differ by a factor of 10 million. That's an equation? That's dartboard physics as far as I'm concerned. From Arizona. As science expands its knowledge of the universe, the probability of Earth-like planets out there increases every year. And thus the chance of intelligent life existing in space is at a point where it must be taken seriously by scientists. In other words, as we get smarter, that changes what's out there. Think about that. They're out there whether we know they're there or not, whether we care they're there or not. It's one of those high-sounding sentences that doesn't mean anything. Seth Shostak and I each gave 3 lectures on the Queen Elizabeth II and its last westward voyage. We were rewarded by UFO magazine. We each listened to the other lectures. We were cordial to each other. And when it came time in my lecture, I went over my 5 large-scale scientific studies, and I asked how many people had read it. He didn't answer yes to any of them. When we debated on coast-to-coast radio, he still hadn't read it. It's no wonder I won the debate, 57-33-10. When Michael Shermer was on, what a hopeless case he is, I got 80% of the vote. Because he didn't know anything. I'd read 2 of his books and quoted back some of his stuff to him. He hadn't read any of mine. Stephen Hawking. If advanced life exists, they'll contact us. Aliens haven't contacted us so far. Says who? And why would they contact us? I don't talk to the squirrels in my backyard. I mean, there may be some nuts out there. Here's where I mentioned that, we're going to spend $1 trillion on things military. What kind of a civilization is this? I say this is probably the devil's island from this corner of the galaxy. They dumped all the bad boys and girls here, and that's why we're so nasty to each other. I'm surprised they haven't liquidated us to this point. I think they're here to quarantine us. I can't think of any reason any sensible alien would want us out there. None. I mean, specimens in the zoo, maybe. Oh, here are 2 quotes from Michael's book, Michael Shermer. Smart people believe weird things because they are skilled at defending beliefs they arrived at for non-smart reasons. Isn't that a perfect description